All right, you are now tuned in to the Rotated Views podcast. This is episode number 26, titled Something New. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe, Goose, and Heck. In this episode, we discuss our experiences trying something new, dealing with new activities with our children, overcoming the anxieties of new experiences, and our advice to folks trying something new. We wrap up the episode with quotes from Albert Einstein and Christopher McCandless. All right, so if you are new to the podcast, just so you know, we released a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Please don't forget to download and subscribe. Go to jimmyleevelez.com for more information, specifically on myself and the podcast. And if you are new, you will take quick notice that I like to define a couple words before we get started to kind of kick things off. And I grabbed the definitions from dictionary.com. And since this episode is titled Something New, I figured we'd define the word new. And that goes of recent origin, production, or purchase. And I also wanted to define the word different, and I'll explain a little bit why. And it is defined as not alike in character or quality. Distinct in nature, dissimilar. So I wanted to define different because everything new is different, but not everything different is new. So I figured it was kind of interesting defining what different is. And you guys ever hear that old quotes like if you want different results, you have to do something obviously different, which is also something new. You can't expect different results if you're doing the same thing over and over again. With the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity, exactly.
There you go.
So I kind of wanted to go through that, I guess, mindset as we move forward, kind of just to kind of open up that, getting out of the rut, getting out of the routine. We are creatures of habit, as they say. Trying something new is good for us. So, all right, so moving forward, I wanted to give a few tips. Normally we start off with a story, but this time I want to give a list of things I try to remind myself whenever I'm faced with trying something new. This is by Alex Lickerman from psychologytoday.com, and it's titled Trying New Things. So he gives, 4 tips of, what goes on in his head when he's trying new things. So the first one is trying something new often requires courage, and needing to summon courage is itself a benefit. Once it's released, it will, like its second cousin once removed, anger, indiscriminately engulf everything in its path. How wonderful to open a flood of courage and to be carried on its waves to destinations of unexpected benefit. All right, so trying something new obviously, requires courage. Step 2, or item number 2, trying something new opens up the possibility for you to enjoy something new. Entire careers, entire life paths are carved out by people dipping their baby toes into small ponds and suddenly discovering a love for something they had no idea would capture their imaginations. This is pretty interesting. I saw a guy, or I heard of a guy who was he worked like in a factory or whatever, and he was over a buddy's house and they started doing this, you guys remember it still is kind of like a fad with the skids. Like you pull apart skids and you start making, people made all these kinds of creations with skids, right?
Yeah.
So this dude found out he was really good with woodworking stuff. So then all of a sudden he turned it into his, his full-time job. And here he now earns his livelihood is based off of woodworking. And he would never have done it if this guy didn't invite him over and asked him for help. This guy was doing a project with the skids, kind of like a little fad thing. He's making an outside bar. And his buddy came and helped him, and all of a sudden he was like a whiz with it. And the dude was asking him, he was like, is this something that you always done? I never thought of it. He's like, no, I've never done these. He's like, it just, naturally came to him though. Which is always fascinating to me. I always wonder if was that something in his family, maybe somebody was a woodworker that he doesn't know of, his great grandfather, from another country, was naturally was pretty good with that.
Yeah.
But he literally makes a full-time income with it now, like with woodwork.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
All right, so his third item here, Alex has, trying something new keeps you from becoming bored. Even I, the most routine-loving person I know, become bored if I'm not continually challenged in some way. And it's not new challenges I'm eager to take on at the present, that represent my greatest opportunities for growth. It's the ones I'm not. So, yeah. So that's what I was talking about, becoming in that routine where you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over. To be honest with you, people don't even understand that their lives are telling them that they're bored. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, which can lead into depression, can lead into other stuff and arguments. And you're like, why am I in this foul mood all the time? Mm-hmm. And it could be something as little as you're leading a very boring life. There's nothing interesting that's piquing curiosity or anything.
Well, I guess that's what leads to like a midlife crisis type thing, where you just feel like you need to change something or make some kind of dramatic change.
Buy a convertible.
Exactly.
Dye your hair like bleach blonde, get your nose pierced, and get a tattoo on your left shoulder.
Yeah, at the age of what? 50, 60?
Oh, it depends. But that whole boredom thing, we'll get into that. And then his last item here is trying something new forces you to grow. We don't ever grow from taking action we've always taken. The growth that enabled us to be able to take, it's already occurred. Growth seems to require we take a new action first, whether it's adopting a new attitude or a new way of thinking, or literally taking new action. Thrusting yourself into new situations and leaving yourself there alone, so to speak, often forces beneficial change. A spirit of constant self-challenge keeps you humble and open to new ideas that very well may be better than the ones you currently hold dear. This happens to me all the time. So there you go. Thank you, Alex Lickerman, for trying new things. PsychologyToday.com. So what do you guys think about the new one? Or the fourth one, something to grow? I mean, I feel like that's just obvious.
Yeah.
Obviously you're gonna grow because it's something new. It reminds me of, and I know it's super cliche, but when for all my health freaks and workout fitness gurus out there, they switch. Heck, contact Heck, he'll train you.
You're the epitome of health, right?
His shirt literally says "Your trainer's trainer."
Just medium.
If you definitely want a dad bod, talk to Heck.
He will crush it. Yeah, and you don't need no gym membership. So
nope.
But it's the psychology of, or the methodology, I should say. It's based off of these home fitness programs like Beachbody, all these guys. They go through routines for, I guess it's like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and then they switch up the routine, and it shocks your muscles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that all of a sudden it promotes growth again, from not doing the same routine over. So it's kind of like that same process, I guess. Obviously with growth, what he's stating here,
because you're forcing yourself into uncomfortable situations, so you have no choice but to grow in whatever way you're trying to
absolutely
force yourself.
It's the mind expansion. They always say it's like once your mind has been expanded, it's never going to go back to its original form. So it's just that constant change and growth will happen as long as you're trying new things. Dude, not to get into like more psychology or stuff, but there's like the neuroplasticity of our brains. Think of it as like a highway, right? And there's all these like little exits when you're going down 95, and this exit takes you to Cottman, then the next one's to Academy, then the next one's to wherever. And so your home is in the suburbs somewhere off of 95. So you constantly say you're coming from south, going northbound on 95, you get off at Cottman Ave, right? So you get off Cottman Ave, and then you go through a bunch of all these other streets to get to your home. Well, if you want to change things around and have a different outlook on life, so instead of getting off at Cottman Ave, they say to get off at Academy. But you're still going to the same destination. But since it's a different way, it will create a new neural pathway in your brain. So you automatically think of other options when initially you're just going the same way. So you're sending all these like like these little signals to your brain to think a certain way. But once you expand that thinking, now your brain now knows there's other options I can go. So now if you get caught in traffic, I can take the Cotman exit to go off before. If your normal exit is Academy further down. So now you know different routes. Same thing, like if I go to work, I can take the Boulevard or 95. I have options in my mind. That's how your brain thinks on other situations. It could think like that about money. Some people just think you have to go to a 9-to-5 job just to get money, when there's other people who have other businesses or home-based businesses, also have a part-time job and also have a full-time job and have multiple streams of income and think of how to handle their money differently. So trying something new is just another way that you will grow, and that's just kind of going on the base of thinking. If your parents, or if you come from a family that's poverty stricken or whatever, that was just like in your family line, they say like the buck stops here, it's time to change your family tree or whatever. You have to generate some different form of thinking, because obviously that way of thinking is creating results that you guys don't want.
Right.
So you have to do something different. There's no option. When it comes to survival of the fittest, to me, I think it's the people who are able to adapt. And when you adapt, that's all new. You don't just fit in when I say adapt.
Well, that's exactly what you're talking about with the adapting to like different roads and stuff like that. It's like a different way, so you know exactly what to do in case there is traffic or is like backups, or you want just to go to a different way to work. It's like it's that thing. It's knowing how to change on the fly.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it's huge for us if we go back to the whole concept of survival of the fittest and only the strong survive type of thing. Well, if you want to be part of that elite number of people, and you don't want that for your, I guess, family tree to decay at one point, or be the reason why, you want to be that split in the road where you take another route and another way of thinking and adapting. And not only over adapting though, it's overcoming, because when you're adapting or when you're trying new things, you got to be somewhat of a beast. You got to kind of like eat that, because you're going to be constantly uncomfortable. It's not fun. It's not the regular. That's why they always say, that's why it's always the top 2% are the wealthiest, right? Because they're doing stuff differently than the everyday average person. And we have to do whatever it takes to be different, or to survive. And I think more importantly is thrive. So to be better, you have to accept something new. You have to constantly be trying new things and expect to be uncomfortable. This isn't fun. Like a lot of times, like we're having fun recording this, but you're not seeing the time it takes to edit this. You're not seeing the time it takes to put the itinerary together. You're not saying you know what time of day we're doing this. On top of that, having all the other regular life things that we have to do, our regular jobs and our families to handle, and then the time it takes to actually record this, and then the process. Even just right now, we had to adapt from the laptop just basically not crashing on us, but it's doing some wild update that's taken obnoxiously long, that we had to move to another device, another computer, but we just kept it moving. We gave it a time frame. I cut it a little short because I was a little impatient, but it ended up working out because this thing is still at 75% a half hour later. I don't even know what's going on right now, but we had to adapt, adjust. Did we cancel the podcast?
No.
Or we just went with, like a new route. We just went a different way. That's the mindset. I kind of wanted to get in later, but I guess I just jumped right in. But I just felt the need. It was already there just for trying something new. And I can still I'll get back into that later on. But is trying, like just thinking about that, is it important, to, like in your guys' opinion, is it important as an adult to try new things?
I believe so. Helps you grow, like you said. I mean, trying new things helps you grow. So unless you want to be the same old boring adult, don't try anything new.
Yeah, and going back to, I guess, the second one was that you don't know what you might find that you enjoy if you don't try something different.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or it could be like in some like a business aspect. If you try a new, you do your normal job, you try a new business adventure, even if it fails, you won't know if it would be good or not if you didn't try it. That's something new.
Exactly.
That gives me chills, because think about all the things that were never attempted. And that's why they say the graveyard is the most
Yeah.
saddest thing. And it's not because there's lost members of someone's family. It's because it was dreams never attained,
Yeah.
or even
Right.
attempted to attain. Me personally, I was going through something where I had to defer attending university for my MBA for a whole year. And then the going off of that, the Langston Hughes poem, What Happens to a Dream Deferred, it was the first thing that came to my mind. But I was telling my brother, heck, that I adjusted. I have plans of doing something else for the next year to then attack, my MBA program. And it was just, you kind of just roll with the punches. And I guess I can answer this question next year. Hopefully we'll still be doing the podcast and we'll find out. But I don't know how to answer that just yet. And it's a fantastic way to like, I embraced a new challenge, but it didn't happen. So then it basically spins off. So what's your reaction to, you know what I'm saying? So people are like, oh, well, you tried something new and it didn't work out. Now what? So now I'm trying another new thing.
Yeah.
To make things happen. That's a dream that I want to attain, that I will attain at some point, but I had to defer it for 1 year, and then I'll come back to it to see where we're at. But it's like one of those things. People would say, okay, I couldn't do it this year, I'm done, I'm giving up.
Yeah,
I went to the advisor and I asked, what are my actual options?
Yeah.
And you have a whole year. So I'm like, all right, well, he said you can defer it for a whole year. I'm like, all right, perfect.
Yeah, I was gonna say some people they'll get discouraged. Like you got you had to defer it
It's
for
like,
a year to get
and that was
discouraged,
it.
and it's just like this ain't for me. Then this is a sign. This ain't for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like right off the bat, without even trying it, this ain't for me. Just because you got deferred doesn't mean that you didn't try it.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when I try something new.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So you're basically saying sticking with what we know is good for, I guess, the everyday kind of things, but
Yes.
trying something new on a regular
Because like when you do try something, and if it doesn't work out, whatever, blah blah. Like you can take the encouragement of I'm gonna do something different, but at least it still gives you a baseline of okay, this is what I still know. I can still kind of feed off of that and find something within that realm too. Like you can kind of try something different in there. So that's still sticking in what you know, but still, modifying it, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, and my next project has something to do with that anyway. Still in that same kind of industry, still in that same kind of realm. So I'm not, going too far away from what I'm studying or anything like that. If anything, actually, it's going to help me even more. More experience and more, you're getting a master's of business administration. So, I mean, that can encapsulate a lot. Mm-hmm. And my specialty, if you want to call it that, or focus, is the entrepreneurship. So all of everything that I'm ever even doing anyway, aside from my main job, is entrepreneurial endeavor. So just basically what we're saying, rolling with the punches, trying something new, and people are like, well, what happens when it doesn't work out? I can tell you right now, I've tried so many things, and these guys can tell you that didn't work out.
True.
But I continue to try new things. You don't know. They say the average millionaire has 15 businesses, or attempted 15 businesses before he finds the one that actually worked for him.
It's like starting up this podcast.
Yeah.
We just one day we were sitting out back. He was like, "Oh, I want to try to do this podcast thing." So we come in and we started doing it. How many takes did we do before we actually threw it out there for people?
Well, we had we recorded 3 or 4 terrible
and
things,
was,
and those were
horrible,
extremely test runs.
But neither one of us gave up.
Pre-season.
And that was like 3 or 4 weeks in a row before we even
But we all
had an official one that we were going to put.
Who would have thought? 26 episodes right now we're recording. So I mean, from early April, when did this go down? Like March or something like that? Because I know we threw the first episode.
We recorded in March. The first ones were in April.
Yeah, the first episode.
So it'd be like 30 total.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 or 4 of
that's-
them before we actually.
Right, it's crazy. It's like we gave it a shot, and I mean,
We adjusted.
Everybody adjusted their schedule, their livelihoods for this to happen, to make it happen. So I mean, I guess if everybody gives an effort and you want to make it happen, and it
Exactly.
benefits
Something
everyone.
that none of us ever really did. I mean, you had some obviously experience in recording like audio and stuff like that, but in terms of stuff like this, no, like editing,
Not at all.
self-editing. And stuff
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
that was a learning curve for you
I
as
didn't-
well, right?
For the first few ones, it took me like hours to even get it done.
Yeah,
Now
that's
I
crazy.
got
Not how
like
long.
not more efficient. It's like maybe max like a couple hours mostly.
Yeah.
Depending on how much needs to be done.
Right.
But at the same time too, we've gotten better in terms of actual recording and stuff too.
Absolutely.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Gabe recorded like a 45-minute interview, and the whole thing was shot to nothing because we were using the wrong...
Being knuckleheads. But
They didn't hit record. They were hitting
We didn't
play
hit record, yeah.
or fast forward the whole. They were hitting fast forward the whole time.
Something. It definitely just did. It captured it, and it sounded like we were talking like a mile away. It was awful audio. And I like poured my heart out on that one. So I'm like, yo, we gotta start strong. We gotta start with this big one. Start with a bang. Awful. But it also depends on people are. I also believe it's important to say this. Just starting a bunch of random new stuff at aimlessly trying new stuff also is kind of wacky. Trying new stuff. There's a time to be spontaneous, I think, and there's also a time to intelligently move forward with something new. For example, like you don't want to try something new just because that's your attitude where you start something and you don't finish.
Yeah.
And you're just trying a bunch of new stuff just because like, oh, is it, try something new, blah, blah, blah. And then you have like 10 grand invested into like this little company that you give basically no effort, but in your back of your mind, you're satisfied because you tried something new.
But is it something that they had no interest in, or?
Yeah,
or
because
like-
you're just trying new things.
Well,
That's
I
what I'm saying. You got to be intelligently. There's
Yeah.
there's things that you can be spontaneous. Like if we said right now after this, let's just go to the diner and have cheesesteaks or something like that. That's a random spontaneous
Yeah.
thing. That's trying
But we're-
something new.
But we're
that's
interested
like,
in cheesesteaks.
yeah, we're interested in cheesesteaks, and that's like $15 out of our pocket.
that's the thing, like,
we're
some-
not spending $15,000. It's like, oh, let's start a business down the street
Exactly.
after this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like doing something like the podcast, yeah. None of us have ever done that before, but we have had tangentially we had some interest in doing something like that. So it wasn't just like random as heck that we just like, oh, let's do a podcast, and none of us even had any inclination to do something like that.
Right. All right, so can any of you guys recall a time where you tried something new and it worked out, or a time where you tried something new and it didn't work out?
I tried something new that did not work out for me. So I was maybe 19-ish, I'm gonna say, and my buddy Gilbert was he went to school for plumbing, so he kind of had his career set for him. My buddy Will went to school for IT, pretty much technology, and I was kind of like, I knew what I liked doing. I liked detailing cars, and I liked messing with car stereos, the small electronics. So I felt like kind of loserish. So I was like, I want to have a career. So my dumbass goes out and finds his job out there. It's pipe fitting. Does anyone here know what pipe fitting
Pipe
is?
fitting is? Oh, you want to have like a trade like
Like
they
a
had.
trade,
Yeah,
yes. That's what I wanted. I wanted like
yeah.
a trade.
Pipe fitter.
So I found this job in a newspaper. I took this job, and my first day, I was disgusted looking at myself because I was dirty as all. Like, it was just black grease. So basically, a pipe fitter at that time,
Do you
did it.
even know what it is still?
I don't know. I really have no idea. All I know is that I was putting pipes up for sprinkler systems in buildings.
Oh, okay.
So I had the
Oh, yeah, I
the
remember
monkey
that.
wrench,
Yeah, I
and I was
remember that.
putting the little red dangling things coming off out of the ceiling, so in case a fire hits. I didn't know how them things actually worked. So basically, it's the red stuff. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's mercury. So when the fire hits it,
It's like a
the glass,
thermometer.
the glass melts,
Okay.
and that explodes it, so the water shoots out. So
Gosh.
that's how that actually sprinkles. So I went on for like a month, and I'm like, dude, this is not for me. I cannot do this. I'm thinking, when I first got, I was like super excited. I got like a career, good solid like thing going. I go in, get out early. I go in at like 6 a.m. I get out at like 2:00. I was all excited, but deep inside, I was like, dude, this is not for me. I was
Terrible.
dirty every day, and I had to drive all the way out to like Allentown for one job, and I'm like, this is crazy. So not for me. So I just didn't show up anymore. And that was that. And I picked up my last check, and they asked me if I was coming back, and I said no. And that was that. So I was unemployed for about a week, and then I started detailing cars.
Okay.
And I thought that was my passion, because I like keeping the cars clean and stuff like that. But I mean, it's good. It was a good hobby to do. Like, I still like admiring doing it. Like, I did my truck today, but I just can't see myself on a daily basis doing it though.
Yeah, that's more like a thing that you like not even a hobby. That's just something you just like doing. I mean,
Yeah.
more so for yourself.
For myself, right?
Really.
Exactly. Because I don't think
'Cause I feel like I like
people don't
watching cars,
appreciate.
but I don't
yeah.
want to watch anyone else.
Yeah, people don't appreciate, like, like, especially, like, I detailed cars, and some people didn't appreciate their car being detailed. They took it all, yeah, thanks, yeah, good luck. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. I just spent 3 hours bent over all over your car, waxing it, buffing it with the buffer, and inside you had freaking melted chocolate on your carpet, and I have to scrub it out because you're careless. And you just say, oh, thank you. Don't even appreciate that I took the chocolate out, the chocolate stains, and that, it was just like, I got annoyed because of the reaction of the people that I was getting out of it. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't. So, yeah, so that was that. So I still enjoy detailing cars for myself, though.
Yeah. So you tried something new that didn't work out, then you tried something new that worked out for yourself, but not worked out in the long run.
Right.
so to
Now,
speak.
yeah, exactly.
But you also got, like, by doing that, you picked up certain techniques, certain things.
Well, yeah, now
to-
I know what to do. Like, I can pick up a buffer, and I can, buff the car. I
Right.
can take out scratches. I know how to do little things here and there on the
Something
car.
new
so,
you
yeah.
tried, and obviously, it's not like picking up a rag, dunking it in soap water like we do, and the average person does, or just goes to a car wash. There's an actual
Yeah.
technique. There's a skill, kind of like you pick
Yeah, I
up. or
picked
whatever
up,
if you're
yeah.
doing it.
So that's something I learned for myself, which is good. Because had I not done that, I would probably be still washing cars with Brillo pads. I don't know. Yeah.
So I know for me, one of the things is actually how me and Gabe met.
Yeah.
And it was so awkward. It
Aw.
still is, really.
That goes back to last episode.
That goes back to last episode. Check out episode number 25 titled "That's Awkward." If you're in for a good laugh, if you go listen to that. But how we met was I got a job at a place where he was already employed at, and whatever. We just had casual conversation, and then from there he introduced me to the classic home-based business. And in the back of my mind, I was just yaying him to death. Like, yeah, I'll go, yeah. Then I forgot I had said yeah, and then
Oh, man.
one day on lunch he goes, "Oh yeah, one of my buddies are gonna come over, kind of show you something on a computer. It's like a video to watch and kind of get a better understanding of what this is." I'm like, "Oh, all right." I'm like, "Well, how long is this gonna take? I gotta catch the bus."
Wasting time.
He's like, "Oh, it's quick. It's like 20 minutes or whatever." An hour and a half later, I don't think Gabe literally didn't know.
But didn't we also go play ping pong or something too?
Yeah, well, because we're waiting, because he
He
got
missed
stuck
the
in traffic
bus.
or something.
He missed the bus.
So this dude's supposed to show me
yeah.
like
I
the
forgot about
the
some of that.
plan, and he got stuck in traffic or something. I don't know what it was, but he was like an hour and a half. That's why it took an hour and a
Yeah.
half. He was like an hour late, and then it took like a half hour or so, whatever, to go through everything. But anyway, so they then invited me to a meeting. This is the classic home-based business stuff. At a hotel for a meeting, and then you go there and you get the whole presentation, and they sell you on something, and you kind of buy whatever. I never did anything like that in my entire life, and I was in college, and college kind of puts you in this kind of like, just be open to new things. You never know, it might turn into something. Well, ended up being one of like the better things that happened to me in my life when it came to personal development and personal growth. That actually kickstarted my entire personal development careers back in 2006. We're now 10 years later, and here we are still doing personal development things. And I had some interest in it, but not to that level.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things where I was open to something new, open to something different. The business itself didn't personally work out for myself, but what I grabbed from all the lessons is invaluable, literally priceless. And it affected my entire family in a positive way, I would say, because we all kind of get it, we're all speaking the same language when it comes to, positive attitudes and treating your other, how you handle yourself in front of people, how you present yourself, just a lot of stuff that you got to learn. And I would still recommend it for like college students or kids coming out of school who don't want to go to higher education, because it teaches you a lot of stuff. And it was something new that I tried that was worth every penny I invested plus some. So yeah, that was something that I don't want to go into crazy detail, but that was something that I tried. It was something new, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, and actually, I actually was thinking the same exact thing. Was that, going back like a few months prior to even like talking to you about it. I think before I even knew you. Anyway, was that like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was just got out of like some stuff, whatever, before, and I was like, that's when like my friend had talked to me about it too, and I was like, looking for something different, getting like into different realms, and the same thing. It was like try something totally different. Like I've never done anything like that before. I had some minor interest in it too, same way, because I mean, I wouldn't have gone to that if I didn't have like some inclination going towards that. But it was yeah, in the long run, it didn't work out the way at least the way the plan was supposed to work out. But in terms of at least building myself up, in terms of like building more of a confidence in terms of actually talking to random people, because I probably would never talk to you prior to it would have always been like the random small talk and never led to that weird long 2-hour conversation before I even like mentioned some of the stuff around that. But yeah, it was like some of that stuff. Even like now, it's like, even though I'm like certain situations, it still gets a little crazy, but at least on a one-on-one, for the most part, I can hold my own in a conversation. I'm not afraid to talk to somebody. In terms of before, it was like I always like shy. I always have like short answers and stuff like that. But I'm actually willing now to actually talk to people and actually have a conversation and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff that we gained from it.
Yeah.
Absolutely positive experience when it came to what we learned. But it was the same thing. It was a lot of uncomfortable situations that you got put in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it just showed you how to deal with them. But yeah, I mean, I remember one thing that didn't work out was actually a venture me and Goose tried. It was a T-shirt, T-shirt business we were gonna do. So it was kind of based around this whole personal development thing, kind of like / motivational, basically T-shirt company where we just had like motivational sayings and I guess in a stylish way. It was called Go Getter Global. It was pretty cool concept. It didn't work out. We put in long hours in the development stages, and it just, long story short, it didn't work out. But huge learning experiences off that. We learned about an industry we knew nothing about. Became fascinated with starting ventures and on our own, and became confident in doing so. Found out a bunch of things that we didn't know, from just getting a business license to, getting a name registered legally. You know what I'm saying? It was just all those little things that we had no idea what we were doing. Yeah. And it was nerve wracking. We didn't know what we were doing. And so you're like, all right, so now what? I'm like, all right. And people always say like, maybe we should have got better guidance for half the stuff, but we're just figuring it out. You know what I'm saying?
And jump feet first and just try it out and see and figure it out along the way.
Yeah, well, and there's something to be said, because when you get into all the technicalities, if someone were to tell us all those steps, it probably would have been overwhelming and we wouldn't have done it. Yeah. While we're already in it, we're already in it. We already put in 6 months of time. Might as well just keep going. It was kind of like that, marching along. Yeah, exactly. Even though it's semi blindly, but still, I feel like you have to figure the whole thing out yourself.
Yeah, that's how you learn. Because now, actually, like you said, all the legality stuff help you personally get to figure out the stuff that you're doing now.
Exactly, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
That was years ago, and and every little one of those steps that I used to figure out, that process is literally what Goose is saying. Use them every single day now. When it comes to just taxes and write-offs and all this little stuff that you don't think of that I didn't know. I never had my own business or attempted to anyway. Yeah. It's very interesting. So like trying the new things in that sense, but then you go like stepping back outside of business and stuff like that. There's a couple things I remember going like in high school. I wanted to do something different. So there was football season that we weren't. I didn't take part in. Neither did my brothers. Basically, my mom didn't want us playing football, so she didn't want us to get hurt. That was what she said. So we couldn't play.
She liked our pretty faces.
Yeah. So we didn't have sports to play during that portion of the season. So I'm like, man, it's like a waste. I want to try something different. Well, at my school they offered golf, and then into winter. Basketball season started early, but I want to say it ended early, and then bowling season was kind of like in the same as basketball season, but it ended the way they crossed each other, but one extended more than the other. I forget how it went, but anyway, and I remember first starting, I was like in 8th grade or something, like, and I remember thinking like I want to get into the bowling, join a bowling team or something, and this one kid just kept saying, "Oh, it's so hard. You don't want to get into it, dude. It's so expensive. You gotta buy a ball. You gotta buy shoes." And I remember just being like, my stomach's in knots. I'm like, dang, I didn't know it was going to be all this. I thought you can like rent the ball there and rent the shoes there. I didn't know I had to buy my own ball, buy my own shoes. Like, what in the heck? So I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Mommy's going to like, oh, and now you got to figure this out, or you got to tell him you can't play. And I'm like, dude, that's embarrassing. All these crazy thoughts started coming. I'm in 8th grade, so I'm like 13 years old, 14 years old, I don't know. And so I'm thinking about all these wild things that this is kind of embarrassing, and now I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
So long story short, I'm like, you know what? Whatever. If that's what it is, I'm already here. I might as well just figure it out then. And if it's not for me, then either way, I'm looking at telling my mom that I can't do this and telling the coach that I can't do this.
Yeah.
So then we get there, and the coach is like, oh yeah, no, you could just use whatever the balls are there. And we actually have like this fund, this account that got funded by local like Rotary clubs and stuff like that help us buy like shoes for everyone. So we had our own personal shoes and bought us like like the polos or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, well obviously your own ball is a whole nother thing. If there's extra money at the end, we could probably like help give you like everyone like $10 towards or $20 towards something.
Yeah.
I forget how it was. But it ended up being like one of the most fun like activities that I've done. And out here it was just on the limb of just trying something new. The same exact thing happened with golf. Some dude just told me, he's like, oh, you know how expensive golf clubs are, blah, blah, blah. And it was the same thing. You can, they had extra clubs there for people who didn't have them, or while you're building your setup and stuff like that. And yeah, I remember having like this, like literally like a bag that I bought at the flea market, this little skinny golf bag that literally looked like, I don't even know, like an umbrella case.
It looked like the golf clubs from the Three Stooges.
Yeah, they're wooden, and it was only 3 of them. It was a
1, 2, 3 wood.
Yeah, no, it was a putter, a wedge, and a driver, and that's
man,
what
no
I
irons.
used. Yeah, no, at all. And I made it happen. Well, by senior year, I had my own set that was like a legit set. It was really nice, and it was not that big of a deal. But I ended up opening that up to a whole nother thing where now, we golf on a regular basis. We do bowling on a regular basis. This is stuff that growing up, we didn't do. My family didn't do that. We didn't go golfing. That was something that was, started then. And also, Goose, I remember when you got your apartment in that one complex, I forget what the hell, Apollo Run, they had a tennis courts or whatever, and we started playing tennis there or whatever. Same thing. I remember I always had that in my mind. I'm like, I want to get taught professionally because this was cool. Like, it was something that we never did. Yeah. And he introduced, he's like, oh, I got 2 tennis rackets. Let's just go play. There's 10. I'll pick you up. I'm like, oh, all right, cool. So we go play. I'm like, dude, that was so much fun. I was awful. But I had fun. And I'm like, I think I can get this. And it was something new that we were both open to. Well, then I ended up going to, obviously, Temple, and I took a class at Temple, and I got taught by a professional tennis player. Yeah. So it was,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I would have never done that had I not been, exposed. And it was the same thing. People, and guess who all the people were? 95% of the people there at this tennis, class or whatever at Temple were scared people, but were willing to try something new.
Yeah.
At first, I'm thinking I'm going to walk into a bunch of people who are like really good at tennis, and here I am like a beginner. Well, it was a beginner's class, so half the people were uncoordinated. No one knew what the hell they were doing. Yeah. And it just made you feel comfortable, and I ended up being one of the better ones out of the entire class. But if I didn't try something new, I would have never known any of that.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
It's like golf. You introduced me to the golf, and now I wish I can go out to the course and play, but I actually look forward to trying to get back out into the course. I went out and bought my own cheapy, cheesy golf clubs, but I don't care about the clubs. It's all about going out and having fun. And every time we went out, I remember there were times where in the middle of the afternoon, you're working from home, and you would take a 2-hour break in between, and we'll just go to the 9-hole course and just shoot there, and then call it a day. It was so much fun. It was just relaxing, and because of you, I tried something new, and I actually like it.
Yeah,
it's fun. I mean, I played on my phone because I can't get out to the course, but it's fun.
You get out to the links.
The links.
Is it links?
I was looking for that word. That's the word I was looking for. The links.
No, yeah. Well, with me, it's like with the barbershop. I cut hair, and I worked for someone for many years, and then I came across the opportunity of of opening my own barbershop, which was something I never did. It was something new because opening up a shop, you're a business owner. Like we said, you had to know all the legality parts. I had to hire employees, so you have to get insurance for all that stuff. So all that stuff was new to me. It was like a whole nother world, and just doing my craft. It's like now I'm a barber, but I'm a business owner at the same time, and it's all new stuff that I didn't go to school for none of it. And I remember going to someone that owned the business or multiple businesses, was like trying to pull things from them and ask them questions, and they kind of pretty much were like, well, just go figure it out, kind of thing. Like they didn't give me no step to step, no nothing. They didn't give me really no guidance. So I kind of was like, damn, is that like a bad thing? Like, am I gonna like come crumbling down because that's how their business went, or is it like is it like one of those like the Karate Kid kind of thing? Like, yo, go do this, and then
sensei.
Yeah, he's telling you to do something for a reason, and it
on,
benefits you in the long run.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. So I actually sat down, go on the computer, and I read all kinds of stuff. What to do, how to do it, get your like the LLC for the business, like all that stuff, which I learned, but I wouldn't know if I didn't try to open up the shop, which was something new. And it's sitting, when you're looking at it, it seems like it's something easy, but it really isn't. Like the internals of a business is not easy.
Yeah, because isn't you getting into barber? Wasn't that you started because you were injured for a totally different job?
Yeah, that's how I actually like went full time in.
But you didn't want doing that at all before, right?
No.
So
I
that was like
doing it as
even,
like a hobby first. It was a hobby at first, and then
so even that was some random that you kind of just did, and now it's your whole career. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty badass.
So my latest thing that I picked up that I was actually really nervous about was softball. My wife is she's on the board for our league out here in our town, and she goes, well, Lainey wants to play softball, and she stepped up. She's out of T-ball, so she's gone to the minors. And she goes, if somebody doesn't coach, she's not playing fall ball. So I go, well, I'm not coaching that. Right away, with the negativity, I was like, I'm not coaching that. So then she says, well, my dad's going to coach. So her dad, my father-in-law, said that he'll coach. And I was like, well, if he's coaching, I'll coach with him to get it. Because, I mean, I understand softball. It's like baseball, but it's like...
It's softer.
Well,
and that's you, Mac. You're soft.
I am soft. But yeah. So like, I wasn't sure. Like, I didn't know how to like explain to the girls how to throw the ball and how to like catch it and stuff like that. So I was extremely nervous about it, and I really didn't know that at this point now we're on our fourth game. I actually like it. I enjoy it. The girls. It's funny because the girls are learning this as I'm learning it also, like the strategies and how, the bats and different stuff like that. So I look forward to our practices and our games over the weekends and stuff like that. And then it benefits me learning something, and benefits my daughter because she has a team that she can play on now. Now, coming to find out, my wife asked me if me and my father-in-law are going to coach for the spring because some of the parents want us as their kids' coach for next year. So I didn't even think that deep into it, but I'm like, if it's gonna be that outcome, I definitely will do it, and then have the girls speak to their parents, and have the parents say, when they sign up next spring, that they want Coach Steve and Coach Hector to be on, put their kids on our team or whatever. So I don't know. I think it's fun. I enjoy it very much. Didn't think I was going.
Plus,
to.
your daughter's probably like, yeah, my dad's a coach. Like,
Yeah.
it motivates her. Yeah, it gets them. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I honestly didn't think I would ever be a coach. I haven't had the opportunity to be either, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't think I would be a coach for my own son because I had experiences in the past when I was a kid who had, with coaches and their kids were on the thing. And I'm like, I'm never doing that to my kid. That's brutal.
I was your T-ball coach, Jim.
Yeah, Mikey
was 10.
Yo, they didn't even hire him, but he was my coach. Mikey was on the sidelines telling me what to do, yelling at me. I was mad embarrassed,
Yeah.
And he even wore the same color shirt and hat as
he had
he swore they hired him as the assistant.
Yo, it was a blue brim with the white mesh.
Yo, big trucker foam hat, yo.
But it said like LinkedIn on the top of it or something.
Yeah.
I got it from
JCPenney.
Oh, gosh.
Vuelas JCPenney.
Junkie. But no, but then I see, even like seeing you out there, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I will, because it's weird because you have all these things in your mind, but you're like, well, that was just my experience as a kid.
Yeah.
Your
Right.
experience as an adult is totally different.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't necessarily like certain things, from coaches growing up, you now have the opportunity to change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I also learned my patience actually went higher. Like I have more patience to deal with these girls because it's hilarious that all they do is talk, and then one doesn't want to do something, and then the other one's over here. They start picking grass, and I'm looking at them. I just start laughing. Like I don't even get angry or frustrated. And then my daughter does the same thing. I'm like, Lane, come on, stand up. Let's go. We gotta pay attention. Like I don't want anyone to get hurt or get hit with a ball or anything like that. So I noticed that my patience definitely grew with them because of that, because of you can't get angry at these other little girls. Like they're learning, and they're obviously their focus is not focused on it. Like at one time I had 3 batters swinging bats. I'm like, whoa, somebody's gonna get hurt. You guys, one at a time, have a sit down, and then cheer on your teammate that's batting. So I try to keep them organized and stuff like that. Like I just think back at like stuff that I would do when I was playing Little League or stuff like that, and I watched I watched my oldest daughter's team stuff and watch what they do. So I try to play that in my head to tell the younger girls what to do and stuff like that. So it's awesome. It's good.
Do you wear like
Yes.
sweatbands,
Yes.
You wear short shorts?
Yes.
like batting gloves while you're up on the third base coach?
Yes.
Throwing
Yeah,
out
I'm
signs.
still trying to figure out why you slid into home last game.
I was so excited because we won. I need to get dirty, and I ran all the way around and just slid into home plate for no reason. I don't know. I have no idea why.
That's
but
funny. Now, is this the first year? No, it's not the first year, Lainey. What was the first
this
year?
is Lainey's first year for this league. She moved up because she played t-ball for 3 years.
Yeah.
For 3 seasons, not 3 years, 3 seasons. And this is her first year into the minors, shorties, where the coach still pitches to them, but they're learning, we're getting the girls to.
So was it an interest of hers, or she just didn't want to play and you guys just made her play?
Lainey?
Yeah.
No, she wanted to play because Bella played. So Lainey started playing softball or
But
t-ball.
what you're saying, but I'm saying earlier you said she wasn't going to play if you weren't the coach.
Oh, because nobody else was coaching.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We couldn't find a coach. Right. Nobody else volunteered.
Oh,
no one volunteered to
I
coach.
got
Nobody
you.
stepped
For
up to
that
the plate
team.
to take the team.
I
We
got
only have one team for our league for the shorties.
Okay.
So what happened was, that's why we're playing.
Because it's a
the-
travel league, right?
It's somewhat. It's travel within the township, within the district.
Yeah.
Not like we don't travel far out and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we play like the other townships surrounding us.
Yeah, it's
So,
travel.
yeah.
I mean,
It's travel.
Yeah, so that's what happened. That's why I took it. I was like, well, I don't want her to get discouraged and her sit out on fall ball, and then come spring, she's not going to want to play. So, I got her, I told her that I was going to be her coach. She got really excited with that, and then I was like, all right, well, you need a new bat bag. Like,
Make sure you choke up.
she got super excited because she had to buy new equipment. So, my girl,
Yeah,
my
of
girl's a
course.
complete diva, shopping at all times. So, anything to spend my money, she's down for it. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
so it was exciting for her.
Soccer
and stuff.
spikes.
Yeah, she has soccer Umbro spikes for softball. But that's the only thing we could find. Not just kidding.
And that was only because Sports Authority closed down.
I got them on
And
clearance.
mad discount.
I got them on clearance.
So, is there anything that your kids started new that either worked out for them or didn't work out for them that you kind of introduced to them when it maybe like an instrument or like sports or I don't know, something like that? Because I know for me, I'm not there yet. We signed James did soccer last year, but that was more of like an activity at that point.
Yeah.
I wasn't really teaching him much of. I mean, he was only 2, not even. He was 1. He was 18 months. But we're into that, figuring out what new activities we're going to introduce to him, and we're leaning towards doing maybe karate, a musical instrument, and then the following year we'll start back with the actual team sports because through our experience, it was basically just an activity. They weren't really. He wasn't learning about and he's at school, so he's already doing team projects, team working with other kids. I wanted him to actually learn the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That kid needs football in his life, though.
Yeah.
He can kick
But he
pretty
still
good.
he got time for that. But I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, but that's the thing. I'm open to whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I am with my daughter. Whatever she's not gonna sit around and not do anything. So we give her options. There's it's when she was 4. Oh, you're playing t-ball. Do you want to play t-ball? Your cousin's gonna play. Well, as soon as family members, the girls want to. but she didn't really like it. It was like
Yeah.
very slow paced for her. She's kind of like a little active, and it was like really slow paced for her. So the following year she didn't play, but we're like, all right, well you have to play something else. So she tried soccer.
Yeah.
So she liked soccer for a few years and was playing soccer, and then in the same transition where she would have been playing like softball or something, or she tried dance. So now she's like into dance. So that's like her big thing now. She's in doing like a bunch of different classes of dance. And then so in the fall they just came, she didn't want to play soccer. So now she's doing what is she doing? Gymnastics. They just
nice.
so she's doing like gymnastics and dance.
Nice.
So we're keeping her busy. And now at school she just started. They gave her option to play an instrument. We're like, yeah, go ahead, play an instrument.
Yeah,
She's learning how to play the flute.
Oh, nice.
So she's into like the old colonial times, and she saw like I guess a parade, and they were playing the flute, and it sounded cool, and it reminded her of that era. So that's what she wants to learn how to play was a flute.
That's awesome.
Which is so random, but that's what she's trying something new, like
Yankee Doodle.
which even in that, like even if she doesn't like the instrument, it's teaching her how to read music. How
Absolutely,
to,
that
like, do all-
exposure,
Yeah,
definitely.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean that happened to me. My parents did the whole instrument thing for me, and I did the saxophone, the alto sax, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and it was the same thing. It opened me up to all these new opportunities. It exposed me to music. Like my parents didn't listen to like classical music growing up.
Yeah.
We listened to a lot of different kinds of music, but that just wasn't one of them. So it kind of exposed me more to that and getting a better understanding and why it's so important to culture and things like that. So we learned stuff that even though I didn't, move forward with it beyond that because I don't want to be in a marching band.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just something else too. I don't know. Maybe I should have gotten like private lessons or whatever, which I did. We did. I don't know if you guys remember, for like 2 years, I had like lessons from like our church offered.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
like the saxophone there too. But anyway, it didn't move on from there. But I always had this like passion. That was it. Like this passion for music beyond that, and it exposed me to other forms and kinds of music.
But now when you see a band, someone's playing a sax, your eyes are there.
Yeah.
Like you look at it.
Focused.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Totally, absolutely. There's a whole new level of appreciation.
Yeah, that's
because-
like what this weekend that just passed. We went to a wedding. They had a live band, Spanish
Yes.
band. It was almost like a mini orchestra.
Yeah,
dude,
that's
and they
awesome.
had like every brass like instrument you
Yeah.
can think of, and like that's not my thing, but it just called my attention because usually like when you see a band, it's like basic drum, guitar, bass,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But they had actually like the brass instruments like
Yeah.
saxophone, trumpet. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So my oldest daughter, she came home one day and she goes, I want to join the band. I want to play in the band. So, my wife and I look at her, we're like, why not? Something new to give them a try. But like, I know her. She's very active. She's very athletic.
Yeah.
So for her to sit down and play the clarinet, which what she chose, she played it for the year, and she got into it and stuff like that. But I just couldn't see her focus, and I never said that to her. Like I couldn't see her playing, like sitting there playing in her, like you said, joining the marching band and stuff like that. Like I just didn't see. Next thing you know, this thing is sitting down. This clarinet is sitting in the room. She started skipping. I think she skipped the class. And then next you know, it sat all summer long. I didn't realize that we were paying monthly for this darn clarinet.
Oh man.
I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? You're not playing it, and it's sitting here. I'm like, whoa. Let's get back to the real sports and continue on with softball, which she's awesome at, and keep it going from there, and dance and all that stuff. So like we let her try it. It didn't keep her focused because she just was like, we know it wasn't going to go long, but we're not stopping them from trying anything. It's like Lainey, she tried gymnastics. She was into it. She didn't do fall season, but she still talks about it.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know, I think it's because she caught wind that Ava's doing
Okay.
gymnastics.
Yeah.
So I think that's what like kind of brought it back up for her. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to sign her back up for gymnastics yet, but right now it's softball. But now Nova, she wants to play softball and she wants to do dance.
I
So
can see
my
Noah
house,
just rocking a softball, dude.
dude, my house is nonstop.
I just see her dancing.
But
Yeah, I
that's the
can see
thing.
her
We never stop them for trying or doing anything new that they want to try.
Yeah.
So something new.
So what's your going back and thinking about something new? What would you say to someone who's anxious about starting something new or trying, like a new thing? Maybe it's a new job that they got to start, or new, some other form of opportunity.
Come on, you can do it.
Come on, I did it. You can do it.
Come on.
Come on. Happens to the best of us.
I mean, for me, I guess it just kind of goes back to what we originally were saying, that, experiencing new things are just helping develop you to become a more well-rounded person. Being able to see life from different perspectives.
But going back to I think you said with your tennis course, is like everybody was freaked out about going into that and not knowing anything, and everybody was nervous as heck.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that's part of that. I mean, that's part of trying something new, is like it's the unknown part of it, is that you're trying something that you haven't done before, but it may work out to something you truly enjoy, or it may lead to different avenues.
Yeah.
Or even like
for me, I broke my foot, so doing it.
Well,
it's great.
Well, even like the when you were going to go bowling, try out for bowling. They said, oh, it's going to be expensive. Someone who's already trying to doubt you and put you down. Same thing with the golf thing. They put you down there with like trying to get you scared and nervous, but you're like, I'm going to try it anyway and manage it to figure this out. Like,
yeah.
Or
I want to know for myself.
It can go the other way. You can get so excited or trying something new, and then you get there and you try it, and you're like, this doesn't even work out.
Yeah,
not for me. Like,
not what I thought it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's good to at least try it, find out if you do like it or
and
not.
it's all part of.
Because otherwise, you're gonna I wish I would have did that at some
I had
point.
the experience.
Well, yeah, and then also exactly. The biggest thing, it answers the question, right?
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah. Now
Whether you like it or you don't like it, now
yeah.
you know. That's what I was going back to the whole graveyard thing. Is a bunch of unrealized potential that was always sitting there, and you never took on the challenge because you're scared of the unknown, and you're fearing something that's non-existent. We talked about this in, I think, episode 24. It's fearing what? It's all made up in your head. Yeah. Who cares? As long as it's not like life-threatening or illegal or whatever in the world.
try.
Yeah, I would say just try. Well, and then you know what? Feel anxious. Feel like scared. I always talk about this all the time. People say like, oh, shove your emotions down and don't experience that. I feel like the only way we can truly experience life is through experiencing that little ice ball or whatever happens in your stomach before you jump on stage, or before you're about to perform, or before you're about to do something new. That's just telling you you're alive. Like the fact that you don't feel that stuff and you're numb to that, it just to me is just like jaded like lifestyle or way of looking at everything. It's just so I honestly no I do I feel like you have to experience that new things to expand.
Absolutely.
We are built to grow. Like our minds are literally built to continually expand, not to go the other way. So if you're not moving forward, there's no in between. You're progressive or what's that? You're digressing or you're moving backwards. Regressing?
Yes, I'll take that.
Yeah. Hector for 400.
I'll take the unknown.
What's he taking over there? So
I like to buy a vowel.
Yeah. So like the old saying goes, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. There's no in between. Is what I was trying to say. But
if you're not first, you're last.
Well, that's a whole nother kind of outlook on life.
Yeah.
This guy turned into like Vince Lombardi over here.
He's a coach. Get
him, coach
now.
Come on.
I actually have a book over there by Vince Lombardi.
Let me read it.
Yeah, it's titled "What It Takes to Be Number One." All right, how we like to wrap up our episodes is with quotes, and this quote's by Albert Einstein, and it goes, "A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new." And the second quote is by Christopher McCandless, and it goes, "The joy of life comes from our encounters with new experiences, and hence there is no greater joy than to have an endlessly changing horizon, for each day to have a new and different sun." Super powerful, but that's it. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.